Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. The sign of someone courageous, the sign of somebody who has what it takes to be a hero, to be a superstar, is somebody who refuses to give up. You know, that protagonist character that no matter how many times they get knocked down, no matter how many times it seems like a David versus Goliath impossible situation, no matter the roadblocks, speed bumps, or massive walls that are erected in front of them, no matter what, they just seem to keep bashing through all of them, keep on fighting and never giving up. Of course, you know where I'm getting to with this because you saw the thumbnail and the title. Kari Lake isn't going anywhere. No matter how much the left-wing uniparty media is telling you that she's a crazy person, she's an extremist, she's this, she's that, she's unelectable, they keep saying. No matter how many times they trash her name and try to put her down, she refuses to go away and she continues to fight for what she knows is right. And that right there is the telltale sign of a hero, a political protagonist, and that's exactly who Kari Lake is. And today she's causing leftoid brains to implode, or well, maybe not today, but a couple days ago, as she makes a major announcement that she is, in fact, looking to run for Senate in 2024 if she can't achieve the legal outcome that she's hoping for in her lawsuit against Katie Hobbs. You gotta give it to her, she does not quit. And we absolutely love to see it because I don't want to see Kari Lake go anywhere. She belongs in the political arena, and it seems as though she's sticking around. Let me update you guys on everything that's going on. Let's talk about electability and all of this other nonsense that Kari Lake's detractors are going into. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so let's first start off with the announcement. It happened on Charlie Kirk's show not too long ago, I think a couple days ago, where Kari Lake specifically announced that she is entertaining a run for the U.S. Senate.
Some people are clamoring for you to run for the U.S. Senate. I had a lot of people reach out this weekend over it. We got Gallego running. Sinema might run. Therefore, there's a very clear lane for a three-way race. Is this something you're interested in? Something you're entertaining? What are your thoughts?
Yes, I am entertaining it. I mean, my number one priority is our court case. And I have full confidence in our court case, and I have hope that we'll get a judge to do the right thing. But I'm also looking at what happens if we don't get a decent ruling in that. Mm-hmm. And they want me to go away. They want our movement to go away. I represent we the people. Then I'm not going to let them have that. I won't go away. And I've seen some internal polling that shows I am the only Republican who can beat these other two. Mm-hmm. I find both of them incredibly dangerous to the people of Arizona.
Yeah, they are.
I find them, Kyrsten Sinema's voting record being 83%, or rather 93% of the time voting for Joe Biden's agenda. I find Ruben Gallego being a self-admitted socialist really frightening for Arizona. And if I'm the only Republican who can beat them, I would be willing to jump in. But again, my first priority is my court case. If I did jump in, it would be contingent that if my court case was successful, that I would then step over and take the governorship.
And so there you have it. It's been speculation so far, but now we have confirmation from Kari Lake herself that she is, in fact, most likely going to challenge that Senate seat if nothing else materializes. And for me, I'm just sitting back, and what I really love is the fighting spirit. Kari Lake is the exact type of person that you want representing you. You'd think as an Arizona voter, if you wanted somebody representing your state, fighting for your state's interest, you'd want someone like Kari Lake, somebody who isn't going to back down, somebody who isn't going to just play the politically correct, easy, empty political strategy where you tiptoe around sensitive topics, try not to offend the leaders in Washington or the corporate lobbyist class, where you just cowardly play the game. You'd think that you'd want somebody like Kari Lake who says it and calls it as she sees it, somebody who's going to fight for your interests, somebody that you could send to Washington to fight for Arizona's interest, or somebody who could be the governor of the state and do the exact same thing, especially right now considering all the chaos on the southern border, somebody who could take it to the Biden administration. And so in my view, out of everybody that I've seen in the state of Arizona, nobody even comes close to Kari Lake. But she's unelectable all these wacko leftists and Mitch McConnell simping Republicans keep telling me, which on its face is patently absurd. Arizona has been trending left. I mean, let's look at the Senate race between Blake Masters and Mark Kelly, for instance. The two major races in the 2020 election were that Senate run and the governor's race. Well, considering the difference in results there, it seems as though Kari Lake performed quite admirably, and that's omitting all of the technical difficulties and everything else going on in the state. Will keep it as vague as possible. The idea that Kari Lake's image is a problem is a complete joke. I mean, it actually makes me laugh. I find it so stupid that it's funny. What would be a better option than Kari Lake? Mitch McConnell's candidate? The candidate that couldn't even beat Kari Lake, yet supposedly she's gonna beat Katie Hobbs or the Democrat establishment, the Democrat machine in Arizona? Give me a frickin' break, please. I can't even remember that woman's name. I had to search her name, Karen Taylor Robson. I mean, such a nothing, boring, stale candidate. The idea that that's the perfect candidate to turn Arizona around and to trend it back rightward is a complete farce. What Arizona really needs to turn this whole thing around is a real charismatic leader like Jeb Bush or Nikki Haley. It's honestly laughable. You know, Kari Lake's opponent, and frankly most Republicans running on the same ticket as Kari Lake, are forgettable names and forgettable faces. Nobody is forgetting Kari Lake. Kari Lake is not only an Arizona brand, a firebrand, she's a national brand. I mean, here's Kari Lake doing an event in Iowa, and she's essentially packing the house. In fact, it was such a big crowd that there was a massive line outside the venue, and this was in a pretty small town. She's a national brand. And honestly, the one problem that Kari Lake has in terms of her electability has nothing to do with Kari Lake and has everything to do with Mitch McConnell and his GOP neocon faction. If the entire GOP establishment actually rallied behind Kari Lake as the future of the party and this new grassroots movement, then she would be 2 times more powerful than she already is. But instead, not only does Kari Lake have to defeat the Arizona Democrat Party, but she has to beat the Republican establishment in Washington. Kari Lake isn't electable, they say. She should retire from politics and let somebody else step in and take her place. Whoever came up with that strategy wants Democrats to take over Arizona perpetually, indefinitely. Kari Lake can't win, they say, as Kari Lake once again is dominating in the polling data in a Senate race that she hasn't even agreed to be a part of as of yet. She's just recently alluded to the fact that she might run for Senate as a future possibility. Even her as a speculative candidate is beating both Democrats that are running in 2024. Well, actually, we don't know if Kyrsten Sinema is going to resign, but Ruben Gallego, the new Democrat running for Kyrsten Sinema's Democrat seat, has announced his run and he's already started campaigning. Hypothetical she might run Kari Lake is already defeating him in nearly every single matchup. There's only one partisan poll that's showing in a head-to-head matchup Ruben Gallego leading by 1 point, which theoretically, in terms of polling data, is a statistical tie considering the margin of error. Not to mention it's not a very accurate pollster, and Kari Lake again hasn't even started campaigning. Kari Lake isn't electable, give me a break. Kari Lake is the only hope that Arizona has in the short term of not going to complete crap. She's the only one who can stop the Democrat takeover in the state. Not to mention she's still battling in her activism, and her voice might even unseat Katie Hobbs in the near future. As we've previously reported, there's currently an effort being undertaken to recall Katie Hobbs from her role as governor in the state of Arizona. 6 months into her first term, that could happen almost instantly. And with Kari Lake leading the effort, it's likely that they reach that 25% voter threshold and kick in a recall election. She's a fighter, she's a patriot, she never stops. And I mean, man, the contrast is so incredibly clear. Throughout the entire election season, ahead of 2022, Katie Hobbs refused to campaign, she refused to debate, she refused to work, really refused to do anything except lounge around and just expect victory based on the election circumstance. Meanwhile, Kari Lake busted her behind, became a national force, and even after the election, she continues to fight back, she continues to rally, possibly going to run in a Senate race, or who knows, maybe even be on the Trump ticket going into 2024. That's the type of person that you need. That is what we call a leader. And the contrast especially the 2020 vision contrast, could not be clearer. With Katie Hobbs currently assuming the governor role in the state of Arizona, the more people are subjected to her, I mean, it's almost like Arizona's Kamala Harris, I think the more that contrast continues to be clear, and hopefully people start to wake up, especially Republicans start to wake up and realize what a grave mistake it was not to rally behind Kari Lake, falling for the poison that Mitch McConnell, Meghan McCain, Liz Cheney, and Dick Cheney were pushing. What a mistake it was if you were an Arizona Republican to not show up and vote for Kari Lake. But luckily enough, as you saw from her own words, she's not going anywhere, and she definitely has a place and has a future as a leader in the new Republican Party. That's what I got for you guys though. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like, possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.